You have to learn to love where you're at now in order to get to the next stage. You want to live without regrets means whatever you have right now, you haven't done the work because you're still holding on to regrets inside of it. You want to live this potential, and that's great. However, you can't get to that potential until you learn to love where you're at today.
What's like the best practical practice, I would say, when it comes to being it or feeling it first?
I'm going to tell you the answer you don't want to hear. It's called DTFW. And what that stands for in my community, it means, and I mean no disrespect when I say this to you, but it just means it stands for do the work. And when you do the work, you will feel it on your own because it'll rewire it and integrate it in your system that you'll sit and say, oh, that's what he means. You don't have to ask me the question that how do I feel it? It will be created when you actually rewire it. But the secret is this, is you have to learn to love where you're at now in order to get to the next stage.
I don't want to just pretty much live my life fully without having any regrets. At least I have done it, I've tried, and yeah, I pretty much...
Right there, stop right there, okay? The fact that what you just said, you want to live without regrets, means whatever you have right now, you haven't done the work because you're still holding on to regrets inside of it.
If I still have regret on anything that I have done so far, is that what you're trying to say?
No, based on what you just stated, you don't want to live with any regrets. That's an individual that still is holding on to regrets. You want to live this potential, and that's great. I'm not against it. I think you've got tremendous potential. I probably see more potential in you than you even know exists. However, you can't get to that potential until you learn to love where you're at today. A person that says to me that I want to live without any regrets is holding on to anger against themselves and judging their past. Every question that you've asked me, the answer is the same. Is do the work, integrate it, and then you won't have that regret, and all of a sudden you'll catapult your life to the next level. But you can't jump your life to the next level without doing the work at this level. And so I wish there was a shortcut for me to say, just do this and that's it. That's not it. That's not it. If there was, trust me, I would have done it. I was the guy looking for the shortcut before you were. But what I figured out, at least from my experience, now someone else can sit and say I'm wrong, cool. In order to make the money and then retain the money and to feel it and to love yourself, you have to learn to be in the present, and that only comes when you lose the judgment towards everything you've done in the past.
Going back to your quote, the addiction to freedom of money is the reason you can't manage and keep and control it. Mm-hmm. So I'm watching all this play out, feeling, like I said, almost sick to my stomach as I'm watching my money just flow away from me. And it's like at some point too, it's like I feel like I've worked so hard on myself.
Yeah.
I'm Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, all these guys have done all this work and be before you have, and I'm still stuck.
I'm gonna give you the DTFW with a big hug though, because I know you've been working a long time. And let me just say this as well. Kudos to you for continuing to work, because there's a part of you, there's a percentage of you. Maybe it's 1%, maybe it's 0.5%. I don't know what it is, but there's a percentage of you, and everyone on this call that knows that you were created and can create a better life for yourself. How many people can believe that about themselves? That's why you're here, isn't that right? Yeah, that's why you're here. And so I commend you for that. So I don't want to take that away from you. But let me also give you the neurophysiologic feedback that you're having and why that's valuable for you. Mm-hmm. Because if you're starting to throw up, mm-hmm. that's an awakening inside of yourself. That's why I said good. When you start to throw up, you're getting rid of all the nonsense inside of you. Mm-hmm. This work, if you do this right, will change your mind-body connection. I'm an expert in mind-body healing. This is as it applies to money. Because money is the number one cause. 75% of people stress about money, period. That's why I created this program. I'm a doctor at the end of the day. But this is what happens, because I dealt with so many cases around this. And as much as I love Bob, as much as I love Tony, and anybody else who's done this, I haven't met anyone who's been able to rewire their thinking from a scientific, systematic process to replicate it over and over and over again. If you just follow the process all the way through, at the end of it, you're going to say thank you. You're going to say thank you to me, I guarantee it. Because if you did the work all the way through, you're going to be like, I didn't even see where that came. I didn't even see how that hit me. I did not see that. Like, holy crap. And all of a sudden, you're not going to worry about the pain. The pain that you're having right now is the symptoms that's trying to keep you comfortable. Because it's the judgment of your past. And it's tough. And it's not easy. And I don't want to preach to an ivory tower, from an ivory tower by any means, but I had to do this for myself. And I still do it for myself. I still go back to the core basics many, many times. I go do financial rewire myself every year. People don't know that. But I go back and do it myself. And when I was stuck and I had nothing, and I had nowhere to go, and I had no money, I had to figure out how to rewire every piece of myself, because I'd listened to everybody on how I was supposed to create money. I could sell, I could do all the sales script, I could speak on stage, all the stuff that you're supposed to be able to do. Because it's not strategy that builds wealth. It's frequency plus strategy. You need to be in the frequency in order to use the strategy to grow.
This thing about fear, like I have been noticing some deep-rooted shifts, especially with the thing about balance, and I've actually pulled that into other aspects of my life. One thing that I'm noticing isn't really shifting a lot is this kind of like fear or hesitancy to start like new business endeavors.
What do you do now?
Well, I'm a musician, artist, but I mean, I do business. I'm pretty business savvy, but it's like I don't know if it's just because I don't want to be stretched too thin, but I feel like there's a deep-rooted just like fear. So I was just wondering in general, because I'm sure other people go through this, you know, that kind of fear of success. It's like I have everything laid out for this business opportunity, literally everything's in place, but I still haven't pulled the trigger just because there's this like...
So the real question is, what's the real thing that's stopping you, right? The why not I talk about, right? Not the why. The why is why not is the most important thing. It could be, number one, it could be that it may not be valuable to you. I don't know what, just because something's a business may not be valuable, right? I like business too. I have many different businesses. But, you know, someone sit and tell me that go open a 7-Eleven, I'm not going to do that. It doesn't interest me, right? But is there something in health that I can help people empower their life? I would probably lean towards that more. I have a buddy of mine, he owns laundromats. He's like, oh, Trivedi, you should come, we'll open a bunch of laundromats together. I'm like, what am I going to do opening laundromats? It's not a value to me. So it depends on what type of business you're talking about, number one. I don't know, right? So if it's just business, ask yourself the question, is this the type of business that inspires me? And if it doesn't, that'll give you clarity around that. The other thing you want to ask yourself is there a past business where you felt like you lost money inside that, or it was a negative experience or a negative root experience, which will prevent you from moving forward into the business? Or third, what about opening this business are you going to lose? Which is probably the most important question for you. Because you think that whatever you're going to do, you're going to have to give up something that you're not willing to give up. And whatever that is the thing that's holding you back potentially inside that. I don't know what it is. I'd have to do more work inside of that. In Total Rewire, I go through your values. I go through explaining what your values are so you can see with clarity why you make the decisions you do. So that you can see, is this really real for what I want? Right? If someone told me, go Trivedi, go open a cupcake business. Could I open a cupcake business? Yeah. Could I make it successful? Probably. Would I go do it? No, I have zero interest in it. But if I judged myself for trying to open a business on something that's not real to me, I'm going to sit and say, you know what? Why am I not moving forward? Business is a high value. But there's other factors. Or if it's going to take away from my current business. If I have to go bake cupcakes and give up my Tuesday's teaching and give up teaching and having these conversations with you guys and helping you guys grow. I won't do that. I'd never do that. Like, doesn't matter what business I do. I'm not going to give up this. This is who I am. Hey guys, if you like that video, click on the link over here and you're going to love the next video.